Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining the Vasco and eSign Live How to Secure Digital Banking Transactions on Mobile webcast. Today, we're going to have a look at how you can extend your mobile banking services with secure document signing. Today's presenters are myself, Carolyn Moran, and my colleague from Vasco, Raf van Emringen. I am the Senior Product Manager at eSign Live with a focus on delivering mobile web and native e-signing applications and experiences. Raf is the learning architect at Vasco. He has more than 5 years' experience in simplifying and explaining the solutions of Vasco with a focus on the Vasco Trust platform. That's why we call him sometimes a true evangelist. Today's agenda will cover some mobile trends in the market, how to secure mobile experiences, creating a trusted device, looking at document e-signatures, mobile e-signature use cases that we have seen in banking, some key requirements that you need to consider, and we'll have a small Q&A session at the end. So as mentioned by Raf, you can please just add your questions and we will review them at the end. Some quick mobile trends. Definitely mobile is the way to go. So Gartner, again, released a new report this year saying that just in the first quarter of 2016, smartphone sales grew again another 3.9%. So this is not just a phase. This is the future, and clients want service and quickly and at their own convenience. They need to be able to do everyday banking, such as opening accounts, signing loans, and doing more anytime, anywhere. A mobile world, clearly, as I stated before, 50% of people are already doing, 57% are already doing online banking. And overall, since 2012, more than 50% activity has increased. In the U.S. alone, 58% of adults own a smartphone and 42% own a tablet, which equals to having more than 125 million adults who are able to sign on their mobile device. Here's another great example in the European market. You can see that people are already interacting with mobile banking applications. And one great stat that you could see is that when your bank or your product has an application, people are 20 times more likely to actually interact with your services. A key point here is really the more services you provide, the more users will adopt. It's the desire for convenience coupled with a younger, more affluent demographic and skyrocketing smartphone ownership is leading to rapid mobile banking and adoption. And now I'm going to hand it off to Raf, where he's going to talk about securing the mobile experience.
Okay, thank you, Caroline. What I've noticed here is that the expectations on the functionalities within mobile banking apps are higher than ever. Let's kick off with an example of a financial journey of a man called John in this case. And John is sitting on the train going to work, and he'd like to transfer $300 via his mobile banking app on his mobile phone. Now, the problem here is that there is a restriction. The maximum amount that can be transferred is $200. Now, luckily, on the internet banking at work, he can actually transfer the $300 because there's less restrictions via internet banking. And luckily, his security device lies on the table on his desk. Now, during lunch, John is going to town and is going to withdraw money out of an ATM. The only thing he needs at that point is his wallet and his bank card. Going home after a hard working day, he meets a friend, and guys together, they like to go for a pint. So they go to a pub, and during the conversation, he lends some money to his friend. Now the thing here is that he needs to be sure at the end that he gets his money somehow back. Finally, at home, he sees that he has received an envelope from his bank. An envelope with a document that needs to be signed and then sent back to the bank. What we see today is, sorry, my slide, okay. What we see today is that financial institutions are looking for solutions to give more services on a mobile banking application. And today it's not only giving more services on a mobile banking application, but using this mobile banking application in an omni-channel approach. So why not use this same mobile device also for authentication and signing transactions on an internet banking web-based application? Why not use this same mobile device to withdraw money out of an ATM, so no card needed anymore? Why not use this same mobile device to get your money back from your friends meaning I lend some money to someone and I pay him directly back via a mobile banking application. So the money is directly back on my banking account. And today, why not use this same mobile banking application to sign documents? So actually, everything on one device in one app. Now the thing here is, this is one of the biggest challenges today. How much trust are you going to give to a mobile device you do not have under your control? You do not control this mobile device. You do not control the behavior of this user. Imagine that John, in this case, I don't know why, decides to jailbreak his device. Can it still be trusted? Can your mobile banking application still be trusted in your mobile application security? So, therefore, we need to create a trusted device. We need, or there is a need, to convert the mobile device of your customers into a trusted device. And creation trust on a mobile device actually goes on 3 levels. The first level is the client side. You need to build trust on client side. It's not only about the user, but also on the mobile device itself. You need to create trust on bank side. You need to have a lot of information, what's happening around. And then finally, also a very important one, is the interaction. It must be trusted. All the interaction between you and your user, and the user and you, but also between the device and your banking application and vice versa, it has to be in a trusted way. Therefore, a secure channel is very important. Today, Vasco is offering you a solution to build trust on a mobile device, to build a trust chain with your customer and his device and your banking application. Now, on client side, for example, we need to create a secure link. And it's a secure link between the user, your customer, and his device. Actually, in this case, it's more about the binding of the device to your user, so that you are sure that this device used by a user is his device and not someone else's device. The second thing on client side is the security of the inside of the application. And therefore, Vasco provides your developers a lot of tools to build or to use during the development of the mobile banking app. And one of the blocks is, for example, the secure module, so that you can securely store data into the mobile banking app. When this is done, it's very important to have a shield around your mobile banking app, so that this can be a protection against intruders from outside, like runtime attacks. And then finally, on client side, from the moment that your mobile banking app is on the device of your customer, you need to have a solution that can analyze the risk, that can analyze all things that happens on the mobile device. And one of these risks can be, or one of these items that can be analyzed is, for example, is this device jailbroken or not? If we go build trust during the interaction, then it's about authentication. It's about authentication of the user. Now, years ago, fair enough, but today we also need to have authentication of the bank itself. So if information is coming from the bank, somehow on client side, there needs to be a check that this is really coming from the bank. It's also about authentication of the device itself. Is this really the device of the customer? And this communication, interaction needs to be done in a securely way. So this is our secure channel approach. And then finally, on bank side, yeah, there we need to create a timeline on everything that's happening on profile of user, of profile of the device, so that you can calculate the risk, that if something abnormal is happening, that you can decide to do something. The good news for your end user is that actually almost everything except the authentication of the user is running in the background. So actually, in this case, invisible for your user. So everything is done by the device and by the bank itself. Now, if you're going to ask some actions from your user to authenticate himself, for example, this has to be also in a very user-friendly way. And therefore, Vasco today offers you a multi-factor trusted framework, authentication framework, including biometrics, by the way. So in this case, for example, if you're asking something from your customer to authenticate themselves, so an action from your customer, for example, it can be just a fingerprint. This is a really user-convenient solution. So user experience is very high. Today, by the way, we also offer facial recognition, and it's still possible to do it with a PIN code. I'm not going into detail on all these 10 building blocks because we do not have so much time today, but I'm going to have a deeper look into the shield application of the shielding of your application and the secure channel approach. Now, shielding application is done by RASP, and RASP is standing for Runtime Application Self-Protection. And RASP, in this case, does two things. The first thing is it prevents attacks, meaning if a certain activity is happening on your mobile banking app or towards your mobile banking app still works, and we just can't prevent that something happens with your mobile banking app. The second thing that can be done by this RASP module is detecting certain attacks and then decide to kill your application, or in this case it's also possible that you just get a notification that something has happened on this mobile banking app and then decide afterwards, okay, I will kill my application. You can see here some examples on the bottom of my slide. Like, for example, we protect the banking application against repackaging. This is, for example, that malicious people are injecting some malware code into your mobile banking application and then repack it again and put it on the app stores. So people are then downloading a banking app with some malicious software on board. Another solution we offer as a protection is anti-key logging. This means that we prevent that someone can capture everything your user is typing on this mobile device and then can be used and can be checked. And this is, for example, information credentials of the user, like, for example, a username. The second thing I'd like to explain of these 10 building blocks is a secure channel story. What you see here is that today the communications between bank and devices is going over an encrypted communication channel, the transport layer. Most of the time is SSL used. What we can do today is adding an extra security layer, which we call a secure channel. This secure channel is, for example, a good solution against social engineering. So meaning, for example, that you are asking something from your customers and that device, for example, is checking if this message is really coming from the bank. If it's not, it does not allow it anymore, or it doesn't do anything. Well, all these building blocks are combined into one solution, and this is our framework, which we call DigiPass Wraps. It has all the building blocks which you can need or which you need to build a trust relation between the device, the user, and you as a banking institution. Now, if you go back to the mobile journey, then you see what you can do with all this, over all these channels you can do with the trusted device. Now, today we are talking about document signing. So with this trusted device, it's now also usable for document signing. When talking about document signing, it's actually a complete workflow. It starts from accessing an application, going over a lot of other things, and then finally ends with delivering the signed document. Today, my part, I will go over the signing of the document itself. This is, for example, a use case. This is John again, and John is on the website of a bank, so he authenticates himself already, and he opens an application. And then he sees, in this case, a document that needs to be signed. Well, what John will do here is just click on the rectangle where we need to sign it, and then a message or a request will be sent to his mobile device. And there, John will be asked to sign with his finger a signature on his device. This signature then is sent back to the application and then signed with a certificate in the cloud. Now, with a trusted device, it looks even better. Because in this case, what you see, it's actually the same application, and it happens in 3 steps. And in this case, step 1 it's on a web-based application, actually data is generated. And this data, for example, can be a hash code. This hash code will then in step 2 be signed with the device, with this trusted device. Now we are talking here about mobile devices, but keep in mind that it's still possible with other hardware Digipos authenticators. So this gives you also the idea that everything is very flexible. And then finally, when signed, the hash is signed with the device, it's sent back to the application, to the signature platform, and then signed again with this certification of the bank. This is how it can look or looks like for the customer. So he clicks on Sign Document. In this case, a Pronto secure image is generated. And the only thing the customer needs to do is just hover over this image. And then it will be signed, it will sign the document. So this is a trusted device and it's just scan and sign. It's as simple as this. Now, we were talking about a full mobile solution. So why not send directly the document or make it visible, the document on the mobile device of your customer? So in this case, all this hash information we were talking about in the previous slide is actually all done on the mobile device. So it's really convenient for the user in a secure way, by the way. So in this case, for example, what the customer needs to do, he clicks again on sign the document, and then he will be asked, for example, please touch and sign, so that they use the fingerprint recognition system of the device to sign the document. Today, we also offer smile and sign. With our facial recognition module, it's perfectly possible today. A short recap before I give the word back to Carolyn is today Vasco can offer you a trust platform that gives you trust over all these different items. So today it's not only creating trust for your user or on the device, but also creating trust on what your user is doing on your application or is doing on his device. Now Vasco has acquired a great company which is called eSignLive. And we see today that it's in the digital banking a very important use case, the signing document situation. So thanks to eSignLive, we can now also add signing documents into our portfolio. And now, Carolyn, I give the word back to you, so the floor is yours. Please give us some information about document signing. Carolyn?
Hello. Hello. Thank you, Raf,
Carolyn, you're back in. Okay.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Carolyn.
For that. So what we're going to do here for the next little bit is just look at some e-signatures and use cases, as Raf mentioned, and we'll look at some additional stats and some of the experiences that we've had at eSignLive. If I look at this slide here, it's overall the whole idea that an e-signature is a legally accepted form of signature, and they are used in the same way that wet signatures are. You know, it's the same process. They can be face-to-face or even signed remotely. All you really need is a web browser, or when using a native app, you could actually use it offline and sync when connected. You can have a click-to-sign signature type as shown in the above right corner, or even have a user use their actual autograph through the mobile signature capture pad that Raf showed earlier where John Smith was signing. eSignLive also meets the IATIS requirements for advanced and qualified signatures. As discussed earlier, with the high increase of mobile adoption, we and the banks need to adapt in order to better serve the client and provide an omni-channel experience. Today's consumers own multiple devices and move seamless between them and are able to also make sequential actions, which is very important because a lot of the times what that means is that they could actually start from one device and then move on to another. So it's really important that your products worked on multiple screen types and provide a similar and very fluid experience. And what is the value for banks, right? So 62% of the globe's population have bank accounts and 50% of the globe's population have smartphones. So therefore, the market potential is huge. Banks are already transforming the customer experience in and out of the branches with mobile, and with e-signatures, you can execute transactions throughout all the channels. You can strengthen your legal and compliance by gathering evidence every step of the way. You can actually increase sales and productivity without having to manage paper, have human error, and avoid handling costs. You could actually increase revenues also because going digital allows you to improve your reach and spread your digital footprint across the board. So mobility really has changed the way we interact and we do business. Using tablets, for example, in branches can actually offer a unique experience where the client actually feels comfortable and provides a seamless experience. Tablets and mobile phones offer a familiar way of drawing a handwritten signature as well, so the person doesn't feel that they're just doing a click to sign. They could actually draw their signature and feel like they're really applying a signature to a document. You know, the traditional office also changes. You know, before you always needed to sit at a desk, you know, face to face and go out of your way to be somewhere. Now you don't have to. You could actually sit at a cafe. You could actually send a document through the web. The person can sign, never having to, you know, take some time off of work or anything. They could actually just sign it and send it and go. Here at eSign Live, we support multiple channels for mobility. So obviously we do the HTML5 in order to support a better user experience based on the device that the user has in hand. We also support native applications, which allow to provide a fluid, fast experience that, you know, clients are used to. And what's great about native applications is that they also support offline. So whether it's for a client or if you have a mobile sales force, you could actually go out in the field or have a client sign a document that is completely offline with no internet connection. And that way, when they get the connectivity, they can actually sync back up to the server. So it's a great feature for that. We also provide an SDK based on our native application so that if you have an application, you could easily integrate e-signing directly into your application. That way, you're not asking any of your users to actually download an additional application so that they can sign a document. So this provides a very vast way to really spread the digital footprint in e-signing. Really quick, what we'll do is we'll look at some of the use cases that we've experienced here at eSign Live. So if we look at bank account openings, what you can see here is that, you know, one of our top banks was equipped some of their sales force with iPads to complete remote account kiosk openings. This was actually used with our SDK, and they built something. And as you can see, they experienced success by using e-signatures. They reduced the document error rates by 7%. They avoided $8 million in administrative fees. They saved over 80,000 hours manually of work time. People do not have an issue when they're using e-signatures. They feel very comfortable, and 90% of the customers said they would consent to signing again with e-signatures in the future. Tangerine, this is another large bank that we work with. It's a direct bank. They don't offer branch locations, so everything is done on the internet. So mobile was a perfect fit for them. Their big use case was, especially during the retirements RSP season here that we have, what they do is they transfer money from bank account to bank account. They could do this really quickly with just one click of the button to do a signature transfer. As you can see, they had a 0% RSP season error rate, which would drop from about 60% the year before because people were not signing documents, completely. So this allowed them to really have a 0% error rate, which is absolutely phenomenal. Sorry. Then we have another bank that's based in Switzerland that needed to have a way to have account opening process inside the bank. They were able to use iPads and integrated onboarding application, and they were able to be successful in being able to add new clients to their center, and it rolled out very simply and easily. So that's it for the signature use case part, but there's some important things to take into consideration when looking at mobile. So, whether you're using native or desktop or the web, you have to really make sure that your design is responsive and using HTML5. Again, your users really have to be able to sign on any device easily, and the experience really should be maintained. So while you may have a different, look and feel for the device type, you still have to make sure that the person knows what they're doing and they're familiar with some of the keys and the buttons around. Another very important consideration, and that really needs to be maintained, is the user experience. User experience, people often sometimes push to the side, but it really is about how your client walks into your product and how they feel in that moment. You need to make sure that you optimize your flows for quicker and simpler transactions. Avoid the long, lengthy discussions and questions that you need to be answered. And the shorter you make it, the quicker you're able to onboard that client. Another big part is understanding your industry's device usage. You need to be made available, especially if it's native or even if it's HTML5. You need to make sure that whatever device your clients are using, you're able to provide that experience. And, overall, why is e-signing better? I mean, this is a general slide. You guys get to keep it, but, it's easier, for the business and for the user. It's more ergonomic. So, as a user or as a salesperson, you don't have to carry heavy equipment. You don't have to share equipment. You don't have to, have that internet connection all the time if you're using native apps. It's more flexible and accessible. GPS signing allows for the ability to know where they're at. You could offer a hybrid solution. You could also have offline signing again if you're using native. There's greater control. Again, the GPS signing is pretty important. So if you're outside of your area, we could totally make sure that, you are not, signing something that is not available to you. Analytics as well provides you, the ability to know if there's any problems within your e-signing flow. Is it possible that something's causing a hiccup? That way you can go back and modify any flows that you have in order to improve the experience. There's also, too, it's more secure. So if you, as you saw Raf displayed earlier with the PIN codes, we also have SMS or Q&A authentication. We do support smart cards. So if you have a reader or you use derived credentials, you could use that completely as a certificate. We use GPS location pictures and videos in order to validate content. And again, we do evidence recording, so everything along the entire way is completely recorded for playback. When looking at, the right balance between customer experience and security, some of the benefits of mobile is that, it can be used anywhere, anytime, and a key advantage is that it's user convenient. But when you're building a mobile solution, you really need to make sure you find the ideal balance between your customer experience and security. In a digital and mobile world where trust is key, this is extremely important. Your mobile banking application has to provide a great experience, but it also has to be secure at the same time, whether that's for mobile payments or document signing, for example. Vasco and eSign Live are in a unique position in the market to tackle this problem, and we offer solutions that ensure that mobile banking experiences are convenient and easy to use while providing a safe and secure mobile ecosystem for your users. We help protect your users' devices and applications while and the underlying digital transactions. So, overly complex processes lower adoption significantly, and that's clear, and that's why I keep coming back to you about, the customer experience and being device agnostic, whether it's online, mobile, or on a tablet.